Oh, I had no idea what a French drain was before I flipped the house. I didn't even know France had drains like that. But apparently they're in the U.S. too, just like French fries. France is everywhere now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Oliver Perry Show. We've got another set of amazing guests today. I'm so excited to talk to them. These two gentlemen host a podcast called the Passive Money Podcast, also known as Passive Money on YouTube. They are not financial professionals. They're not telling you exactly what to do. They're going to give you their experience. You're going to learn from them because that's been their focus for some time now, is helping people learn how to improve their financial standing. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Kirby and Mr. Alex from Passive Money. Gentlemen, how you feeling?
Good.
All right, guys. I'm nervous about this one. All right, so
No,
all right.
Don't be nervous.
So check it out. So I just want to hop straight into it, and the idea behind this entire thing is to give people easy ways that they can improve their financial standing to get to multifamily real estate, just real estate in general, or whatever it might be. But before we hop into that, there is one thing that I need to find out first. All right, Alex, Kirby once said that you are so frugal that you and your wife go out and share drinks. Is that still true?
That was never true. That was never true. That was never true. I do have to say, though, I always get water, though. It's the only free thing. Yeah,
Okay,
my
that's
wife
fair.
will be the one ordering. Yeah.
That's fair. I just wanted to make sure and see if that's still a thing or not. I didn't want to judge. You know what I mean?
No, that was never true.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna chill out then. All right.
It was close.
All right, gentlemen. So, how'd you guys get started? How did you guys get started on your financial journey? And we'll take turns however you guys like. Matter of fact, let's start with Alex. Alex coming in. How did you get started on your financial journey specifically? How did you work that out?
It was kind of in two different parts. So the first part would be when I was 18. I had already had a online business where I sold like military antiques.
Right.
And so it kind of showed me a perspective that you can create income from something outside of a 9-to-5 job. So that really fascinated me, and I wanted to, whether it was with that specific business or something else, I wanted to create income outside of just having to go and report to a boss or a typical corporate job, something of that sort. So that kind of started my journey to thinking differently about money.
Okay.
And I just remember thinking to myself, this was when I was 18, so I remember thinking to myself, like, if I had enough money, I could, essentially not have to go work for somebody. And I would say the second part to changing my mentality was meeting Kirby, actually, who's been a great coach in my life, teaching me different ways to actually create income, kind of laying out like a blueprint on what it is that is required to achieve success in that way. But I would say the first way that I started thinking differently about money was just taking the time to actually think to myself, where do I want to be in my future, and do I really want to be working at a job for 40 years like most of America does?
Yeah, that's excellent. That's an excellent question to ask yourself. I ask myself that all the time, right as I put my uniform on. Kirby, what about you, man?
Like we both military. But I started my financial journey off by being broke. Actually, I got out of the military in 2007, right at the height of the financial crisis.
Okay.
And everybody was telling me when I got out, oh, you need to buy a house. That's when they was giving the robo loans. I bought a house. Well, I actually built a house, no proof of income.
Right.
It was insane. So with that, and then getting out right during the financial crisis, couldn't find a job, and the jobs I did find was paying like $9-10 an hour, but I still had a $1,300-1,400 a month mortgage payment.
Wow.
And then so I was just tired of being broke. So I was just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Credit card transfers, and then it went from there to it got to be a better way. And then one day I'm riding. I always listen to AM radio, and I would listen to a guy. Everybody know who he is, Dave Ramsey, on the radio. And I thought it was an infomercial, but I was only listening to AM radio, so I'll just ride and listen to it. And I'm saying, this guy's a joke. He's full of it. And then I told myself, I'm going to listen to everything he says. And then he had a book out also. So I said, I'm going to read the book. I'm going to do everything he says. And then when it doesn't work, I'm going to call his radio station and cuss him out. And then I look at it now. Yeah.
Wait.
I look at it now.
Wait, Kirby, why are you so aggressive, man? What's going on? What's happening at this time?
And the thing was because I realized now, being more mature, I was mad at myself. I wasn't mad at him. I was mad at myself for putting myself in that situation.
Right.
And then, but I had to blame somebody else at the time. It couldn't be my fault. It had to be somebody else's.
I get it.
So I actually read the book in like a day, and then I read it again, and I just started following everything he said to the letter. Because of course, if it didn't work, I wanted to cuss him out, so I was gonna follow everything to the letter. And that was like an epiphany in my life. Honestly, that was honestly an epiphany in my life. It changed like overnight. So when I started doing it, after a couple of weeks, I'm looking like this stuff really works. And then I just kept going and kept going. And that was how I first got into financial understanding.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so then let me ask you this then, Kirby. Mm-hmm. What's a few ways, and let's just start with one. What's one way that you've improved or that you use to improve your own financial standing?
Cut out expenses. As far as keeping up with the Joneses expenses, the things like, so just for the record, I don't celebrate holidays. I never have, but that was something that I noticed a lot of people spend a lot of money on. They go overboard. They go deeply into debt for birthdays, Christmases, if you have North Sweeties Day, Thanksgiving, all of that. And then they put all that stuff on credit cards and they spend the rest of the year trying to pay it off, to regurgitate and do that again year over year over year. Yeah. And those credit card bills, 18%. That's the best investment you could do, is get out of consumer debt. But that was probably one of the biggest things I did. I stopped trying to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody, when they had birthdays and stuff, they had to do big things. And then especially being in the military, okay, I got to do something, and then cut that out. That was a big way to save on finances, and in a huge way, actually.
I believe it. I've make sure my wife don't hear me. So I'm going through the same thing.
Right.
All right. Don't kill me. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Alex, what about you, man? What about you? What are one thing that you did up to this point to ensure that you were doing better financially?
Yeah. I would actually go right off of Kirby ended with, and I have to thank him for teaching me how to say no to people that are close to me. That was probably one of the hardest things. I grew up in a family where it's very much around the holiday times or birthdays. It's almost like an obligation, or you're expected to give gifts. And learning to cut that out, especially telling friends. I mean, I would have friends ask to like pay for their college tuition and stuff. So learning to say no to that, just telling people no. It's insane how the people closest to you will be the ones with their hands out first. But learning to cut that out first can save you a lot of money.
So let's dive. All right, so let's dive into that a little bit, because that's a really good one. I didn't think about that. What did you learn? What was the key part of that learning, and how did you go through that process to figure it out as Kirby was kind of giving you the guidelines?
What did I learn? Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, of course. What did you figure out from what Kirby was teaching you? What are the key things that you took away from Kirby teaching you on how to do that?
It's gonna sound kind of dark, but
oh, God.
It's gonna sound a little dark, but there's a lot of truth to this. In a sense, in a way, if people, and I'm not saying maybe not for all families, but if people actually think, like if someone is starting a business, or they're starting to be financially well with their money, responsible, investing, they're making a sacrifice. And they have to understand that the people that may ask them for money aren't making the same sacrifice as them. And why should they feel obligated to give money out to those same people? And most of the time, those people are your friends, your family, like I said, the people closest to you. So saying no to them, because a lot of times they really just don't understand the sacrifice you're making. But I mean, I've sacrificed a lot of, say eating out or going on trips.
Right.
I know people that we live in Florida, so I know people that go to Disney and Busch Gardens like every weekend. So I don't do that, you know what I mean? So if those same people are the ones asking for money, but not willing to make the same sacrifices that I'm making and my wife are making, then why should I continue to give them money?
Ooh, okay. So I like that very last part is probably my favorite part, is your thought process on it being they're not going to give up what you and your wife are giving up to get where they want to go.
Exactly.
So with that sacrifice, Kirby, for you, what kind of sacrifices are you focusing on outside of course, the holidays thing? But what sacrifices are you making to continue to improve and develop on your side of it?
Well, now it's a little bit different. Like where Alex is at now is where probably I started off years ago. But back then I gave up a lot. I mean, it was bad in the house. We was unscrewing light bulbs to keep the electricity down.
Great Jesus.
But now, yeah, it was bad. It was, like I said, I learned from being broke. But
right.
But now it's more. I have quite a few units now. I own businesses, commercial property, and things like that. And but still, me and my family, and then so like I said, when we was going through that time when we was super broke,
Mm-hmm.
and I went through the Dave Ramsey book, and I wanted to do more than what Dave Ramsey said. I know a lot of people say Dave Ramsey is hard, but I said we're going to live on 20% of our income and save 80%.
Mm.
Still to this day, we live on 20% of our income and save 80%. It's just now the 20% is just way bigger than it was back then
Right.
when we was broke. But that's the sacrifice that we made. But yeah, 80%. And now so it really don't even feel like a sacrifice to us because my 80% might be the next man's 100%. So it's
Right.
not a huge sacrifice, but that's what we do.
So do you think now, was that something that you would advise somebody to start out with, or would that be something that you would kind of tell them, hey, that's an advanced level skill, start here? And then where would they start if you're saying start here?
I believe the philosophy at least save, live off 60%, save 40%. But
Right.
everybody think it's all about, oh, I got to cut my expenses to get there. How about make more money to get there? Do a side job. You work your 9 to 5, but get another side job, a side hustle, sell stuff online or something like that to increase your income so that 60% will still be a nice chunk of change so you can live off of, so you're not sacrificing unscrewing light bulbs like I was, things like that. And then you can go on. But everybody always just think of cut, but
Right.
make more, it can still give you the same outcome.
Okay. So, Alex, what would you say is the next thing someone should focus on? Because you talked about the sacrifice as far as what you and your wife sacrifice and things that you learned from Kirby as well. But what else is there that they can do? Because buying a multifamily property, a multifamily or any property for that matter, is a very big undertaking. And it seems daunting when you're starting out. How would they handle that?
Yeah, I would say people have to learn how to get out of their comfort zone. It's not easy at all. Kirby and I just made a video recently on this actually, and I was talking about how you kind of have to just force yourself. There's no like blueprint or way to go into a situation like that, but you have to force yourself to do it and just think of your future. If people would think about where they would want to be in their future
Right.
more often, I think they would take more risk. But it's all necessary. You have to take risk. You have to take action. Without it, you won't get anywhere. And by the time you're old, you'll have a lot of regrets.
So with that said, let's talk about risk a little bit. As you're doing this, I've always thought you got to find ways to mitigate the risk, find ways to put yourself in that small percentage where it's much more difficult for you to lose out everything. How do you go about mitigating the risk? What's your thought process on that?
Are you asking me or?
Oh, sorry. I forgot there's two of y'all. My bad. So used to interviewing one person, so interviewing two is new. But nonetheless, Alex, for you, how would you go about mitigating that?
So learning from Kirby, I don't think there's any mitigation. It's just jump right in.
Okay. Okay.
So I would have to say, having my wife on board is
Right.
biggest help. Because my wife makes probably more sacrifices than I do. So she's fully on board. I would say for someone that's single, especially if they're young, I mean, it should be very easy for them to take risk because they have, they may have the responsibility of having a job, but if they don't have a wife or kids, you can go ahead and take that risk. When you have a family, I would say it's a little bit harder. But if someone is in a relationship and they're just married, no kids, I would encourage that married couple to take risks together. And a lot more can be done if you're working as a team.
Got it. Okay. So the old adage of together everyone achieves more is kind of the wave for this one then.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So for you, Kirby, as Alex is talking, he continues to talk about you as the coach. I've always thought, and this has been my adage, right? Coaches have coaches, players have coaches. The greatest millionaires in this world have coaches in some areas of their life. How does one go about finding the right coach? Like Alex, I know found you, kind of stumbled into you, but you've taken that role, from what I can tell, very well and pushed him forward in his own development. So how does somebody go and find a Kirby for themselves?
Well, it's not as hard as people think.
Okay.
The key is, all right, so for me, for instance, I didn't have a per se coach. My coach was Dave Ramsey. My coach was finding people that were successful and followed the blueprint. I don't want to create a new blueprint and try to create my own. Why create my own when the people that's there before me that's already created it? So I didn't have any starting out, I didn't have any people that I knew that was wealthy or rich or anything like that. So I surrounded myself with, and it's going to sound boring, surrounded myself with books like the Robert Kiyosaki's, the Grant Cardone's, the Rich Dad Poor Dad's, the Richest Man in Babylon's, As a Man Thinketh. Those are the things that I just, immersed myself in, and I just followed their blueprint to the letter. I didn't try to go create my own, like, oh, he said it this way, but I'm gonna put my little twist in there also. Right. In the book or the blueprint that they provided, it didn't say put your own little twist in there. So if I knew what I was doing, I wouldn't be sitting here broke reading their book if I knew what I was doing. So I act like, well, I didn't act like I knew I didn't know nothing. Right. I knew I didn't know nothing. So I went and took the knowledge of people that knew stuff and just took it on 100% and followed it to the letter.
Okay. That's dope.
You get the same result.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's take Dave Ramsey out the picture, right? Okay. Give me your best person for someone to go and watch outside of the Passive Money Podcast, which for those listening and watching, I highly recommend the Passive Money Podcast. But outside of you guys and Dave Ramsey, where would you tell someone to go get started to figure it out?
For me, it's reading. I'm a big reader.
Okay.
But like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, a lot of people say they read the book. I always tell them to read it again if they're not taking action on it, because it's a lot of things in there. And then you got Grant Cardone. I know some people think he's very abrasive. I'm always of the mindset of don't think of the messenger, think of the message. So if you listen to what he's saying of how money works, then it will give you a better understanding of how the whole system in itself goes. But again, like I said, some people have some misgivings about his tone and stuff like that. Even Dan Pena is another one. But again, misgivings about his tone. But I don't look at the messenger. I just listen to the message and what they're trying to say. It's a lot of people that's out there wealthy. Of course, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett been giving out a blueprint for 80 years. And everybody that's broker than him is trying to talk down on his blueprint. But I follow his blueprint also. That's how I do it. And those are people that I would listen to, just thinking off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Alex, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What book are you reading right now?
Now, I have to be honest. I'm not reading a book right now.
So Kirby's teachings are falling short, is what you're saying? Huh?
No,
stirring the pot.
It never falls short. Yeah. But I think I watch more videos than reading.
Okay. What's the best video, or not last best, but what's the best video you've watched recently? Who was that from?
The best video? Oh man, I can't even narrow it down. But a lot of content that I watch comes from either Robert Kiyosaki, Dan Pena, or there's one that people aren't so happy about right now, which is Andrew Tate, but his financial advice is pretty on point.
Yeah, Andrew Tate is an interesting one. I think it's less Andrew Tate's advice sometimes, more his abrasiveness, I guess, is what people have a problem with, it seems like. Because a lot of the things that he said as far as financially were solid, like decision-making process were solid.
Right.
The relationship stuff, not my business. I'm married. I don't even talk about relationships. So, interesting. Okay, cool. All right, so gentlemen, let's talk about the Passive Money Podcast. Alex, how did you meet Kirby?
I met Kirby through a friend at work, who his brother served with Kirby in Iraq. So this friend invited me. I can't even remember if there was a special occasion or anything, but he invited me over to his brother's house for dinner, and he said that Kirby was going to be there. And he always talked about Kirby, but he never really let me meet him, so I didn't want to pass up this chance, and I just went and just kind of zoned in like a stalker to everything Kirby said.
Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. You said slide in like a stalker. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because Kirby was talking to my friend's uncle, I think it was.
Okay.
About his uncle had moved down here from New York, I think, and he was trying to start investing in real estate or getting a realtor's license, something like that.
Right.
He owned a towing company, and so Kirby was just giving him advice, and I had never heard like actual advice come from like a live human being that was successful. It was always just hearing people online. So to listen to someone firsthand talk about it was important to me, and I didn't want to miss out on anything he was saying. And then from there, I think he gave me his Facebook or something. I started messaging him on there.
And then so happens we get the God-given gift of the Passive Money Podcast. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the most difficult thing you guys think, and Kirby, you can answer this. What's the most difficult thing, in your opinion, that people are going to run into first when they're going through the process of deciding, hey, I'm gonna get myself together financially?
The most
You
difficult
asking?
thing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, okay. So the most difficult thing people run into is
Okay.
they don't want to give up. They don't want to give up the life that they know. They've been broke already, but they
Right.
still want to keep all those old habits that they've been doing.
Mm,
But so they think that it's a magical like lottery system. Everybody want instant gratification. They want their microwavable system out there. But that's the hard part is people giving up, especially if you're in your 20s and 30s. You've been living a certain way for 20 years, and then now giving that up to pivot and change. That's why you
got
see
it.
more people standing in the lottery line instead of looking for wealth.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. Once they've done that, what's the next step? Because it's very easy, like you said, to do the sacrifice, to give up all these things that we talked about to this point. But like the biggest part that people have to deal with is the mental game. What ways have you made it easy for yourself, and kind of that you've taught Alex up to this point how to beat that mental game, how to win that game?
Well, first, Alex is a unicorn, and I tell him that all the time. What I mean by a unicorn is you won't see as many people his age, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
Right.
21. I was hanging in the barracks trying to get drunk everywhere, but
Right.
you won't see them thinking about their financial future at that young of age. So for Alex is a little bit different than telling the layman because they still have that peer pressure of friends and things like that. Alex, he ain't got no friends. Don't let him tell you anything different.
Oh snap! Wait a second.
but,
This has got ugly in this podcast. What is going on right now?
but no, but Alex, he don't have that need to impress other people.
Got it.
So that's back to keeping up with the Joneses comment is he don't have that need to do that. So it's not a thing for him to have to worry about. But for other people, it's just setting up a structure. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, you can't go do nothing, but you can't get paid if you got a job. You can't get paid on Friday and be broke by Monday and think you're gonna be successful financially. I mean,
Okay.
it's okay to do one or two things there, but you can't sit there and just every trip, every club night, every baseball game, every theme park, you're at all of it and think you're going to be successful. Just won't happen.
Okay, let's go to that keeping up with the Joneses part, Alex. So for you, I'm gonna give you a scenario. You're at the store, right? You see this pair of socks that you've wanted for the last 5 years of your life. God knows why you wanted some socks, but your feet are bare. You want some socks right now, right? What's your thought process when you see that thing that's been teasing you, that's been looking at you for days on end, to keep yourself from going to make that purchase?
Man, it's not even that hard for me because I'm just like, man, how many shares can I buy on the stock market with this? So like, I'm always thinking about investing. I just, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's things that I think are nice. Like
Right.
there's certain cars I think are nice or watches, stuff like that. But when I see the prices, I'm just like, I can't fathom. Like I can't understand why someone would pay that because to me, it's like once you pay that, you just lose the money. And Kirby will tell you, I try to hoard every penny possible that I can.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, this is how he got to the joke of sharing a drink out with the missus. You know what I mean? So I would assume you're holding on to every penny just based on that joke.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So all right, so what happens with you when it comes to things that like quote unquote improve in value? So let's say let's not do property. Let's do like a watch, a Rolex, something on that level that is known to improve in value. Is that still something in your head you're like, that's not really an investment? And then how do you know what I mean? Like, because that's got to be difficult to set goals for yourself then.
Yeah, so I'll say like on the part where I mentioned buying and selling military antiques,
Right.
those are known to improve in value. Things dating back from like say the Civil War up until World War II. Those kind of antiques because obviously they're not produced anymore, and more get destroyed every day. They go up in value, and I'm a huge history buff, so that I would say is hard for me to decide. How am I going to actually make this investment rather than just buying it because I like it.
Right.
So either I would use it to bring attention to my sales. If I can buy this item that is rare and it is known to be rare amongst the collectors community, it'll bring attention to my page and will increase sales. So I'll do that if there's something like that. But yeah, that I would say is one category that I kind of struggle with. on wanting to buy. But as far as an investment improving in value, my idea of an investment has changed a lot, because what I once thought was just, you buy it and it goes up in value. If it doesn't bring you an income, is it really an investment? I think that would be something that people should ask themselves, because a lot of people, they especially collect, silver coins or gold, which I understand can hold its value or increase in value, and it's real money in a sense, but it doesn't necessarily bring you an income unless you're actively selling those products.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, of course, the being able to actively sell the products makes absolute sense. And even though your fact that you, as a history buff, I'm guaranteeing you're gonna have that struggle with stuff that is involved in history, military history in some form or fashion. So that makes sense.
Well, he's only like 20, so everything is history for him, right?
So we're gonna pull out military 8-tracks right out the original Humvees and toss it to Alex. Alex will make it work.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so Alex, let me ask you this: if you were to go back right now to look at all, because I know you got a lot of time to talk with Kirby, but when you started out, what you know now is different than what you know then. What would have been the first question you asked Kirby, as opposed to what you did ask Kirby? And then for Kirby, what's the answer to this question? Go ahead, Alex.
Man, that's a good one.
Yes, it is, Kirby. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
yes,
it
is,
kinda
Alex. Come on.
stumped me. I would say it took me a while to actually jump right in, and I understand Kirby's coaching method where you can't just tell people dump everything you've got into an investment. But I would say if I could have shown that risk, that I was willing to take that risk earlier, that I would have came to him that way, because I think it took about leading up to a year before I showed him that I was willing to pretty much put everything I have into investments. So if I could have went in earlier, I think I could have maybe made more before that point.
Okay, so for you,
learned something new.
Fair enough. So for you, Kirby, when that person comes to you like Alex did, and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm ready to go all in. I'm putting family. I don't care. I'll live in a hotel. My grass. I've got a great camper. I'll go outside, sleep under the stars if I have to." What's the way? Because like you said, there's risk to everything, and even jumping in is sketchy. It can be very sketchy. So what's your advice to that person, particularly those who are in the military? Because we know there's Joe Snuffy out there who just bought a BMW coming back from Afghanistan, Kuwait, or wherever else. What's your guidance to them?
If the first thing is follow the numbers. The numbers is, I know we talked about risk earlier, but numbers can mitigate the risk a lot. If you know the numbers, and you have to do the work to find out the numbers. Don't just take anybody's word for it. But if you know the numbers, that's how you do it. But as you're saying in this scenario, my advice to somebody who say they're ready to go all in is to go all in. I'm not saying just, all right, here's all my life savings. Here, take it. You do it. What I mean by go all in is you want to go all in and do the work, do the time that it takes to find out the numbers. If you're investing in stocks, find out the number. If you're investing in real estate, find out what you need.
Right.
Going through the steps to continue, to gain knowledge through the process. And then once you have the knowledge and you find something that you're for sure about, go ahead and do it. I mean, me, I process faster. That's probably why Alex just say, "Oh, he's crazy. He's all in." But I process the numbers faster. But yeah, I am somebody who will see a deal, I can run the numbers close to almost in my head, and then be on the deal that fast. So
you underwrite all your deals and all that great stuff as well?
Yeah.
Were you always that good at the numbers, or that was something you had to develop?
I was good at numbers, like ABC 1, 2, 3, good, but over time,
okay,
that's what it is. Of course, the first deal you do in real estate, it ain't gonna be the best deal you ever make. Once you do the deal, you find out what's the goods, the bads, find out where you can fix your numbers, find your adjustments there and things like that. And then when you go for the next deal, you're going to try to make it better than the deal before. And then you just keep plowing through. As long as you understanding where the cash flow is coming from, having that cash flow set up, making sure you got a reserve and things like that, and then keep going to the next deal and keep growing out your portfolio.
I like the advice. I'm going to absolutely disagree with you, though, a little bit here, and hear me out. Right? So I feel like every deal you do, especially the first deal, is the best deal you can do. And the reason I say that is because the amount that you learn from taking the L's in those deals it saves you so much money down the line. Like I did the flip that I did, I lost all of it, but I lost a lot of money on that. Let's just say lost a lot of money on that, and I partnered with somebody with more experience. But the stuff that I learned from that, I had no idea what a French drain was before I flipped the house. I didn't even know France had drains like that, but apparently they're in the U.S. too, just like French fries. France is everywhere now. So
I agree with you. Based on the knowledge base, it's nothing like the version.
nothing,
So I take
nothing.
that. I was talking about
Financially,
the other side.
yes,
You're,
tracking. Okay,
you're
I'm sorry.
100% right.
My
You're
bad.
100%.
I apologize.
No, you're right.
But yeah, actually, like you said, financially speaking, if we're just talking strictly the dollars and cents of it, 100%, you're gonna take the L, most likely the first deal. Alex, I understand you just got finished knocking down a deal. What's going on? How'd that go? What was that experience like?
The experience was terrible. I kind of like I talked about this, and Kirby has a stock market class, but well, it's a finance class basically. But I told people in the class, it kind of just felt like Kirby just wrapped a blindfold around my eyes and was like, just keep going. I got you. I really had no idea what I was doing. I was texting him. I was like, man, I'm probably annoying the crap out of him. Like, texting him so much, asking him every little question before I even messaged the seller's agent. I would ask him. I would screenshot and be like, "Hey, does this message look good?" I really had no idea what I was doing, but eventually everything it came through. Everything's good right now. So, but it takes. It's uncomfortable for sure. In the first one,
That's a fact.
It's uncomfortable.
That is a fact. Now that you've knocked down the first one, though, what's the next step for you in your journey investing?
Yeah, so I was saying, I wanted to buy a property and I wanted to give myself like a year, wait till 2024. But
Okay.
Kirby was like, if 2023 comes and prices start to drop, you're just gonna miss out on all those deals, and which is very true. So I'll have to go a lot harder on saving, putting money aside to start looking into getting a property 2023. But I would like to get a multi-family, duplex, triplex, something of that sort.
Now we're talking. Sorry, every time somebody says multifamily, I get excited. I apologize. All right, Kirby, that's something Alex said was key to me just now. He said your advice to him was to have money ready to take on some shots in 2023.
Right.
What are you seeing in the market as it stands right now that's telling you, hey, this is the time we need to be taking shots?
Well, what I'm seeing right now is the interest rates. The interest rates going higher. I'm seeing days on market for homes a lot longer. I actually see a home in my neighborhood right now that's been sitting on the market 6 months, 8 months, 2 years ago. It'd have been off the market in a week. Now it's been on the market for 40 days. And I know why. It's because the interest rates has risen. And then realtors still believe, and I'm not going to talk bad about realtors on this show, but realtors still believe that people are looking at the list price on houses. But in truth, they're looking at how much they can afford per month. So this same house, when interest rates was at 2.5%, you would have paid between $1,200 to $1,800 a month. But now that interest rates are at 7 to 8%, they're paying almost $3,500 a month. It's a big gap in how much people can afford a month. And then when it comes to the realtor side, again, they're still thinking, coming to the investor side, excuse me.
Right.
The realtors still believe that, and the sellers believe that people are looking at the sale price. But the truth is they're looking at the cash flow. They're looking at how much money can they make after the place is rented. If the place is already rented, is the rents that they'll be receiving once they acquire this property, would that be enough to handle the maintenance, handle the property management, handle the debt obligation that I have, and still bring money to the investor? But the real estate agents, and I actually just had a call with the real estate agent earlier this morning, just explaining that to her, the nuances of what market we're going into. Right. And with all that stuff that I just mentioned, days on market, higher interest rates, a lot of people just jumping out the market because it's too expensive for them to pay for things on a month-to-month basis because the prices are just way higher. If they pay this interest rate, it's going to leave a lot of opportunities because there's going to be forced sellers in the market, people that need to sell. We've seen a lot of white collar jobs, especially in Silicon Valley. It hasn't gravitated over here to our side of the country yet, losing their jobs and stuff like that. So it'll be people have to be forced to sell their homes because they don't have a job or something like that. And then they're going to have to knock off a lot of those dollars to sell that home. And the homes in the neighborhood, of course, you know how it goes. If a home sells for less price, then all the homes in the neighborhood start going down for less price. The comps drop lower. So I'm seeing all that stuff happening in a vacuum right now. So I'm just stacking cash to be prepared for when opportunity hits and go for it.
Okay, let me ask you this then. In your opinion, and Kirby, I want to hear your thought process on this, and Alex, I want to hear yours on this as well. What to you, and I know it's subjective to each person, but what to you qualifies as a deal you're going to take the shot on? Is it $200,000, $300,000, or $300,000 a month, or what's that cash flow look like for you?
Well, for me, it looks. First, I go with the 1% rule. I mean, I know you're familiar with that. You know,
Absolutely.
if the revenue that's coming in is 1% of the list price, that's my baseline. If it's not cash flow positive at day one, I'm not touching the deal. I know I can rehab the place. I know I can raise the rents, but that's work that I have to do. I'm not paying a seller for work that I have to do. So whatever they have done in the time that they own the property, if the cash flow matches up, I will pay them based on the value of how much rent is coming in. And then from there, it's just, I'm working on a 6 unit. Yeah, Georgia 6 unit. I'm working on a 6 unit one right now. And for me, it's about acquiring as many units as possible. Right. So maybe you're getting $300-$400 a door on your first deal, and you just keep acquiring units. That $300 and $400 for each door that you grab, it'll eventually accumulate to thousands, $10,000, $100,000 a month that you're bringing in over time if you just keep stacking them up on top of each other.
Got it. So it's a quantity and quality thing. It's not one versus the other. It's kind of a balance in between the two.
Correct.
Okay. Alex, what about you, man? What are you looking for when you're going out to find a deal? What's giving you the okay? Is it the 1% rule? You at 20%? What are you looking at?
No, I mean, I'm a little bit more conservative. Kirby's on a conquest, a warpath, but I'm just trying to keep I try to do the 1% rule, and then if it can at least pull in cash flow more than the S&P 500, which for those that may not know is an index fund on the stock market that over the long term brings in about 10% a year. So if I can make more above that, then I think I'm good.
Okay, fantastic. All right, gentlemen, let's do the I got so much I want to ask y'all, but we're going to do the troop to task because I'm very respectful of everybody's time. So let's do the troop to task. For those watching and listening, troop to task is a military term. What we do is we provide a soldier, a sailor, an airman a specific instruction on something that they can do, and then come back after that mission is complete and we give them the next assignment. So for each of the gentlemen, I'm going to ask them what the troop to task for you is today. So let's start out with Alex. Alex, what's your troop to task for the listener today?
I would say take more action and don't be afraid. I really love the quote, you have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I would go with that.
I like it. All right, Kirby, what about you?
It's go out and get it. I mean, I mentioned, reading books and things like that, but just gaining knowledge by itself don't mean nothing. It's useless if you just have the knowledge and you're not going out there and putting it to action. It's going out there and putting it to action. No matter how many books you read, no matter how many YouTube videos you watch of people giving you financial advice or advice about anything, period, if you don't put it into action, it won't do you no good.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Alex and Kirby have given you a bunch of easy ways to go about improving your own financial position and even giving you some advice on real estate investing yourself. And with that said, we're going to hop into now the game we call the hot seat. And we're going to have a fancy transition here. So there's some fancy transition. It just happened. All right, cool. Now we're jumping into this. My editor's going to kill me. All right. So all three of us I think I'm going to join you guys on this one. It might be fun. So all three of us are going to answer these questions. And we're going to go from my right, which is Alex, jump to Kirby, and then I'll answer last, and we'll mix it up in between there. All right. So, Alex, first question. What puts me in a good mood immediately?
You or me?
You.
Oh.
Well, I mean, I'm going to answer too. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to answer too.
What puts me?
Yeah. What puts you in a good mood? Oh, I did say what's me. That's on the card. My bad. Go ahead.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Probably coffee. I don't know. Probably coffee, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, coffee.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Kirby, what about you? What puts you in a good mood immediately?
When the property management send me the email saying the check's on the way.
How did I know? How did I know? All right, that's fair enough. That's fair. For me, if I put on Lionel Richie's All Night Long, it's game on. I don't know why. Don't get me wrong. It's the weirdest thing. I don't have enough hair to have a Jerry curl, but for some reason that song does it for me. All right, so Kirby, this question is for you, and then Alex, you're gonna be next. What is something that you wish you enjoyed?
I wish I had more time with my family. That's not the truth. More time. I wish I would enjoy more time with my family.
Oh,
What I mean by
okay.
that
Woo,
is,
boy, you might be in trouble.
yeah. What I mean by that is I'm pulled in a lot of different directions. So like this interview here, right after this interview, I have to leave and go to another meeting. And I have meetings all day and stuff like that. So that takes away from time from my family. So just spending more time with my family.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Alex, what about you?
Something that I wish that I enjoyed. Man, that's a hard question. I mean, Kirby's has a great point. He's a lot more busy than I am, and I'm sure I'll get there some point soon. But geez, I don't even know if I have an answer. I really don't know.
It's cool. It's cool. Don't worry.
Because I have to say, I'll say this.
Okay.
I don't think there's much that I put myself in that I don't enjoy. I kind of look at life like a blessing, and every second that I can get, I try to remember it the best I can, because to me, time is the most valuable asset. So I would say I enjoy life. I really do. So I enjoy pretty much everything. I don't think there's anything that's in my life that, because I'll say this, if there's something in my life, and it could be even people that I love, if it's in my life and it's negative and I don't like it, I cut it out immediately. I don't want to tolerate it.
Ooh, that's a low-key bar, Alex. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, if it's no good for you, cut it out. Nobody needs it. Get it out of there.
Yeah.
I am nowhere near as noble as you. So for me, the thing that I wish I enjoyed more, and given the holidays is kind of thematic, I wish I enjoyed those Hallmark movies my mother and my sisters like watching. I don't know what it is. I know y'all know what I'm talking about too. That's why you're laughing. You know exactly what I'm talking about. As soon as the movies start, I already know the ending. So now I got to spend an hour and a half watching some stuff I already know the ending to. Dude, Jesus Christ, I hate that. I hate those. All right. This time, I'm going to go first this time. And the question is, what excuse would you use to get out of jury duty? This is a tough one. This is a bit incriminating. What would I use to get out of jury duty? I would say that my wife is pregnant, knowing full well that she's most likely not. I'm definitely using that, and I will forge documents. This is not on record for those of you watching. This isn't on record. I'll forge documents. I'm just saying, if this is the case, if I really had to get out, that's what I'd do. But that's not the case, and I really would do. I'm lying. All right, Kirby, don't arrest me. Go ahead, Kirby. Kirby, it's on you. It's on you. Your turn to answer this question. What excuse would you use to get out of jury duty?
I probably would go fly to a rental property and then say I can't afford to come back.
Oh, that's a great answer. That's a really good answer. All right, Alex. Alex, what about you?
Okay. Man, I have to say, every time I get the jury duty summoning, I get so annoyed because I'm not used to waking up that early. But when I get there, then I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. But I will say this though, in our family, in my family we're half Puerto Rican, then my father is American.
Okay.
On my Puerto Rican side, we have an uncle who did some drug trafficking in his life. So another uncle be like, just tell him your uncle was a drug trafficker. I don't think I want to tell the jury. Oh man, but I'll say that.
Yeah, I might have to steal that idea. That's a good idea. That is, oh man, that's a good one. All right, cool. All right, so this time, I think we're gonna go back to Kirby this time. Kirby, you're starting this one off. You, in this case, it says but you discovered blank before it was cool. What'd you discover before it was cool?
Binge watching shows.
Really?
Cool.
Okay. All right. I was going to give you cross colors. On the episode, you talk about cross colors. I was going to say cross colors. Alex is...
because, we was in the military and then deployed. We only could binge watch shows. We didn't have no TV or nothing
That's
like that.
Absolutely.
And now look at all these other shows out there.
Man, I've got four hard drives right next to me right now. Full of movies.
We discovered it before Netflix and all those other guys.
The question is, Alex, you discovered what before it was cool?
Discovered what before? Probably nothing. don't think, man. Man, jeez, I'm a hermit. Oh my gosh, I don't think I discovered anything, man. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Discovered. I would say maybe discovered investing, like in as far as being in my family. Now everyone else wants to like do their little twist to investing, but
Okay.
yeah,
I like it. That's a good answer. Very good. They're very distinguished. Mine's is more degenerate. I discovered push pops before it was cool. Okay, so Alex knows good. Alex knows what push pops is. Push pops, man. Push pops was the wave. It was one of the greatest things on God's green earth when I was younger. I swear to goodness. They had some. I just got back from deployment in Kosovo. They had some in the little deployment PX we had. Bro, I bought them out that day. Nobody had push pops with me. I was the only person, I was the only dude on post with push pops, and I was rocking them. All right, Alex, this one's on you.
Okay.
What's one sentence that describes your year?
I would say, wow, weird. I would say weird.
Okay.
It's a very weird year. So I lost my godmother and my grandmother this year, but at the same time, got my first rental property and got to travel a little bit more with my wife. So
I like it.
Good, very good things and some bad things in the same year.
Good stuff. Kirby, what about you? What's one sentence? What's the sentence that describes your year?
My year, I believe I underachieved. And what I mean by underachieved, I had goals. I passed those goals, but I still believe that I could have hit bigger goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the year.
Okay. For me, it was enlightening. I spent my entire time, for the most part this year, in Kosovo, of all places. Great place, not bad. It was just a lot of things were happening. I saw family members pass away. I had a friend who passed away. It's very, when family around, people around you and friends around you start passing away, you start to really realize what's really valuable in life. So I'd say enlightening for myself. Okay, so this one I'll start off. Oh man, Jesus. This is the one that I was trying not to ask myself. All right, what is the most embarrassing way I've injured myself? All right. So it's a training event, right? I'm gonna set the stage a little bit. So it's a training event. We have to go to the range. That morning, we get up, hands are freezing, frosty. I run and take a shower. I get myself ready. I forget to put lotion on, grease hair, the whole nine. I give you that because that's important to the story. So we get out to the range and we're firing. Pow, pow, pow. And I go to pull back the chamber and I pull it. Trying to make this simple for those who aren't military. Basically on the M16, you've got a little latch on the back where you pull and the bullet will pop out. So I pulled it and I let it go. But what I did not do is realize that my left hand was too close to the chamber. So my hand, this particular part right here, got caught in the chamber. Now I was so ashy that part of the hand came right off. It came right off. So I'm sitting in the cold on the floor, and I'm laying down as I'm doing this. I'm looking at my hand, and it's just raw meat. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're here now. This has just happened. I have never been that ashy in my life, and I will never be that ashy ever again. I promise you. All right, Kirby, what about you? What's the most embarrassing way you've injured yourself?
Oh, it just happened about 6 months ago.
Nice.
Me and my son was climbing trees in St. Pete, and then he was like, jump off, and my wife was like, you too old, don't jump off. I had to show him I wasn't old, but like as soon as I jumped off and I landed, my ears started ringing, my hip felt like it fell out of socket. Oh man, it was bad.
Oh my gosh.
It was bad. Yeah, but I tried to play it off. I had to play it off.
Yeah,
so I tried to play it off and walk it off. Oh, I was broke.
You just move it a little bit slower.
Broke down.
Yeah, you got to get off that tree. Just move a little bit slower. You're a little bit stiffer. Don't let nobody know you got hurt. Alex, what about you, man? What's the most embarrassing way you've injured yourself?
All right. So when I was 12, I was playing, and at my grandfather's house, he used to have a hammock outside, and my aunt pretty much dared me to try and jump over it. So I was like, okay, yeah, sounds like a good idea. I totally just tripped over it and snapped my wrist. It was like, I don't know, hold on, where's it? Yeah, it was totally just like my bones were going the other way. It made a Y and everything, and I was like, oh my gosh, just totally just destroyed my whole hand.
Good God.
And then even the worst thing is they were like, if you can move it, it's not broken, and it was just crunching the whole time.
Oh no! Wait, it's making the sounds as you're moving it. Is that what's happening? Jesus Christ!
I was like, I don't think it's supposed to sound like that.
Oh my God!
Yeah, man.
Oh, fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Alex and Kirby. Please, please, please go check out their podcast. Gentlemen, what's the best way, and I guess Kirby, what's the best way for people to reach out to you or Alex, or is it one on both? What's the best way for people to reach out to you both?
It's the same way for both of us. You can just passivemoney@gmail.com and submit your questions. We'll answer all of them, or submit the comments in the comment section on any video you have a question about. We are readily looking at the videos and looking at the emails to reply back to responders.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have enjoyed Alex and Kirby today. You've learned quite a bit about us. Alex's crunchy hand, Kirby's busted hip, and my extreme dislike of all Hallmark movies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you boys for coming up on so much. And I guess we will see you guys next time. Remember, you're better than you were, but you're not half as good as you're going to be. We'll see you soon.